Alrighty, so I thought I'd get back to covering the Love and Attraction game jam a bit more, which I meant to do more of sooner, but around the time that it was time to be doing that, I had 3 different people I knew come out with games like the same week, so I was like, oh, I gotta cover my friends' games, and then that took a little while. So we're back to this. This is the game jam that I promoted via my How to Make a Furry Visual Novel in 30 Days video essay / journal recap thing, which itself was a response to me making a visual novel back in November. But there's still finishing touches for that coming up, so I don't want to cover my own game until it's actually done, which is funny because I don't cover... the whole point of this series is covering games that aren't done, but I mean, if I'm going to finish my game, I'm going to finish my game. This week, we're going to be checking out Tomatoes Are Kind of Fruit. This game is written for adult audiences. It contains explicit NSFW material as well as an occasional depiction of heavy themes, including, but not limited to, depression, anxiety, intrusive thoughts, and self-harm. Are you sure you wish to continue? 18 plus warning, adults only, audience. You can check out the full game via the link in the description if you are yourself an adult. I thought when we finally broke up, it was going to be more heated than that. More tears. More yelling. Part of me hoped for a good amount of begging that I could haughtily turn my nose up at. I wanted to see you shatter. But let's be honest. We broke each other a long time ago. I was expecting yet another fight. A screaming match loud enough for the neighbors to start banging on the walls again, and for us to go over and apologize, voices hoarse, contrite, and embarrassed. Poor them. They shouldn't have had to put up with this for so long. Instead, it was uncomfortably quiet, bordering on awkward. Years of our lives entangled together, and yet, on that final night, we felt like strangers. A stilted formality was all we could muster. All the fire in both of us long since spent hurling the cruelest, most hurtful things we could stomach at each other, until any lingering love or joy or fondness had curdled and gone rancid. Our final exchanges were terse and clipped. Logistics, leases, furniture, keys. It's shocking how little time it takes you to pack up your shit and leave, but once everything we owned together was either sold or tossed, what else would slow you down? I suppose I thought a home took longer to unmake. Damn, that's an intro. Alright. I've been sitting on my ass on the empty living room floor for... I don't know how long. It must be hours since you drove off with the last box of your stuff. My ass is numb. And when I push myself up using the nearby wall, my back groans with pain. I'm not sure what to do with myself. I got laid off last week. Fuck them. I've got nothing to do and nowhere else to be except... I rifle through my pocket and dig out my keys. I'm supposed to return these to the landlord. Fuck him too. On Sunday. And remove the last of my stuff, which amounts to a single, bulging suitcase of unwashed clothes. We sold the washing machine 2 weeks ago. I stuff the keys back in my pocket and scratch my thigh in the process. I meander around our tiny flat. The bed's gone. The couch is gone. There's a pale silhouette on the wall where the TV used to be, and a bunch of cables lying around, connected to nothing. Why the hell are there so many cables still left? I feel compelled to run my finger along a recessed bookshelf. It comes away gray with dust. Gross. You didn't even leave me a book, you dickhead. I continue to wander around the flat, examining the little clumps of dust and shed hair gathered in corners. I follow the outlined impressions of furniture pressed into the carpet, dipping a toe down into the grooved valley, then back up again. What the fuck am I doing? Has this place always been so quiet? Oop. How did I turn auto on? I sigh and shuffle myself into the kitchen, which is merely a different province of the living room, demarcated by its sticky, peeling linoleum floor, beige on brown checkered squares. Furry writers cannot get its correct. they use the wrong its so much. I'm just noticing that. I'm fascinated by it. I've always hated it. On the floor, in the dirty square where the fridge used to stand, sold yesterday, is a plastic mixing bowl with whatever was left in the fridge. At this sad sight, my belly growls and reminds me I haven't eaten since this morning, and the sun has already set. I'm exhausted, even at the thought of cooking myself a meal, and a scroll through Super Eats is also fruitless, as nothing seems appealing. I don't want to eat. I just don't want to feel hungry anymore. I sigh and grab the sad plastic bowl of leftover food. I take 2 of the 3 remaining slices of bread. I'm just about to begrudgingly spread unpleasantly soft and nearly melted margarine on them, when I remember I don't have any cutlery. I'm almost thankful. I stuff my mouth with the untoasted bread, then open a jar and take a bite of a room temperature pickle. Then a bite of an overly soft tomato. As I chew this awful mouthful, I stare at the sad, stupid, lonely little tomato, with its juices running down my hand and dripping onto the floor. My fist tightens around it, and more of its innards spill. A drop of tomato juice hits my bare foot. I'm filled with such immense rage and indignity at this fucking tomato that before I register what I'm doing, my arm is already moving. With a disgusting wet splat, the tomato is now part of the wall. It slides down the wall rather slowly, hits the counter, and topples gently into the kitchen sink. All I can hear are my own ragged breaths. I'm going to have to clean that up. I'm going to have to clean all of this. This whole fucking place. All by myself. Once again, everything's on me. And now I've gone and made it worse, like a fucking idiot. My fist is clenched and shaking, and in my anger at myself, I bite into my arm. And it tastes faintly of tomato. The door slams shut as I step into the night air. This is a cheery little neighborhood. Look at these houses. We know from ours this is probably in England or something, but look at England. I pat my jeans. Phone, wallet, keys. My legs are walking, but I don't know where I'm going. Right now I don't care. I hear cars driving in the distance. I hear the wind rustle a discarded shopping bag, and that is enough for me. Anything but the quiet of that place. I let my mind wander and stop thinking for a while. Cold, white LED lights rouse me, and I realize I'm in the train station. At this time of night, despite their starkness, there is something peaceful in their sterility. Something calm. I think I've been standing here for a while, watching bugs flitter through the air, wheeling and bumping off the street lights, drawn here like I was. They carve erratic spirals with their movements, and their eyes find their chaos compelling. My eyes. I blink hard and shake my head to try to jolt myself to focus on the present, but afterimage of moths linger in my eyes for a time. Without the bright lights illuminating this old red brick building, it's funny how it's just so I'm so used to saying brick red that it's hard to say it backwards. It could easily be overlooked, mistaken for just another suburban house. On the left half, a ticket window sits dark and shuttered. I can't even recall the last time I saw it open. Just above it is a sign. 3 Oaks. I can't believe I moved into this shithole for you. On the right half is a minuscule post office, and between the two is an archway, painted white, lit by frosted glass globes anchored to the brick by dark iron fastenings. In the dark of night, it almost looks fantastical. A glowing doorway with nothing else around, nothing but a shit pub at least. The path curves just enough so you can't see the other side. My legs have already brought me to this threshold. I step through. On any other house on this road, an archway like that would lead to a back garden, but here I enter a short tunnel that reeks of stale piss, old beer, and cigarette stubs, and dread vomit. The smell is so intense I clap my hands over my snout and walk faster. Despite that, I cannot resist tapping a knuckle against each glass globe in the tunnel as I pass, each responding with a satisfying, if quiet, ring. The tunnel is blessedly short, all of 15 steps, and I emerge onto a train platform. I crane my head left and right, but see no one on either platform. I look to the information board above me. Its yellow dotted interface is glitchy, and the whole second row is illegible, but I can make out enough to see the oncoming train is in 37 minutes. I squint and consider the board on the opposite side. 4 minutes. That'll do nicely. I head up the stairs, and at the end of the platform... and cross the footbridge to the other side. I walk slowly to the center of the platform. 3 minutes. I start to do a little marching step on the spot because I'm bored, when the overhead station light glints off the steel tracks and catches my eye. A dark thought slips in that only becomes more pressing as I hear the reverberations of the train approaching. I turn my back to the tracks and face an illustrated map of the train lines, protected behind a layer of acrylic so deeply engraved with graffiti it's hard to make out any names of stations underneath it. I press a finger against the deep scratches and trace their lines, and the roughness of that damaged acrylic is pleasant. I only turn back around when I hear the train come to a full stop and the doors open. I enter with a hop and find a seat with a table. I spot only a handful of other passengers, heads down on their phones or asleep. I wonder where they're headed this late.
Welcome aboard the 2313 Southerly Service train to Notcombe, calling at Cockangle, Hassiton, Bally St Stannis, Blightsby, Tensley Bottom, Grotel, Grotel Cupping, Shimmerham, Muffleyfield, Cheam, and Notcombe.
Grotel Cupping and Tensley Bottom, huh? Okay. Cockangle. I really blew right past that one, honestly. My smirk grows with each station name read out by the announcement. I've heard these names my whole life, and they still crack me up. But when the announcer reads out Shimmerham, I'm not smirking. I'm 15 again. The blustery sea breeze blowing my fur every which way. I'm licking at cheap vanilla ice cream on the pier, the muffled funhouse noise of the arcade in the background. I'm trying and failing to defend said ice cream from frenzied gulls. My best friend, Leigh, is damn near pissing himself with laughter watching my dismay. A seagull has driven its beak deep into the cone, and now wears it proudly like a comically large beak prosthetic before heading out to sea, towards the sunset, a conqueror. Look how proud that fucker is. He owes me £1.50. I told you should have gotten mint chocolate. He sticks his tongue out at me, pale minty green. Oh, seagulls are notoriously picky, are they? What about strawberry? Would they have spared me then? No. Only mint chocolate. They're allergic. Everyone knows that. No, they're not. Are they? Deathly. I have no idea if that's true. It sounds like some dogs don't look up stuff. His voice shifts to, a haughty history professor, and he adjusts his glasses sagaciously. One pack and they puff right up and explode. Oh, piss off. We fall into laughter again. His smile's tremendous, wide and bright and irresistible. I lean against the wooden exterior of the arcade. Its old paint flaking and brittle. I can't help it. The "it's" has come up so many times. And it's always the wrong "it's" every time. Leigh leans next to me and wiggles his cone in front of my face. His other hand brushes against mine and makes my breath catch. Want some? It's the best. No, you keep it. I think I'm good. His stripes look so alike. This is an aggressive arcade noises. His stripes look so alike the setting sun on the sea, orange cresting waves catching the light, deep black stripes in between, rippling with every movement, every breath, shimmering. He slides down the wooden wall into a sitting position, legs outstretched, and I join him. He scoots closer to me, and now our thighs are touching. He's so warm. His long tail swishes with coiled, frantic energy, swatting me on the back and butt. I don't think he notices. My heart hammering, I let the edge of my hand gently rest against his thigh, casual enough to be accidental, and his tail goes straight and quivers with, as I would later come to learn, excitement. He's smiling again. His big, round glasses frame his golden eyes, and as he shifts his head to and fro, they catch the glare of the sun in their reflection, and from moment to moment, I'm not sure what I'm seeing. I'm staring like an absolute weirdo as he eats his ice cream, admiring the line of his dark, glossy lips, flashes of his brilliant teeth, his pretty pink tongue. I think how nice it would be to kiss him, and then, like a felled tree, slowly, inevitably succumbs to gravity, I am pulled towards him, and our lips meet. After a moment of surprise, he leans hard into me and kisses back, and even with my eyes closed, I can tell he's smiling. His tongue meets mine, ice cream cold and sweet, and he was right. The mint chocolate was delicious. It hurts to think back on how things used to be. Well, good news. Every seat has a table, apparently. I'm back on the train, staring at my phone, looking at the last messages Leigh and I exchanged. Us promising to meet up, catch up with each other, nearly 4 years ago. His profile picture's still the same after all this time. A hot anime boy he used to have a crush on. / wanted to be. With a text caption underneath, so distorted and crushed it's completely illegible. That's the correct "it's." It's like finding a fossil. So is that one. Should I really be texting an ex right after a breakup? Does it really count when it was so long ago, and we sort of made up, and at least made an attempt at being friends for a while? He certainly never made it convenient to keep in touch. He barely has any social media. And anywhere he does, he just posts landscape photos and close-ups of bugs. He's a nerd, he's perfect. But then a great deal of the friends I have on Snootbook aren't really friends, are they? Oh, hey. Novel mode. Hey, hello. Howdy. Greetings. All the deleted messages. Hey, how are you? It's been a while. Too long, really. I'm sorry I'm such a shit friend. I know I'm the worst. Do you still remember me? I'm sorry for not keeping in touch. Do you still live in Shimmerham by any chance? Kind of in a tight spot. I don't have anywhere. I got on a train without thinking. I happen to be passing by and could really use a place to crash. No worries if not. I know it's out the blue. Wouldn't blame you. Hope things have been good for you. Send. I stare out the window into the night, trying to ignore my reflection in the glass. In the darkness, all I can see are bright pockets of the world flash by. Dioramas lit by intermittent lights, moments frozen in LED white. Country road. Parked car. Industrial estate. I decide I'm going to get off the train at Shimmerham, even if Leigh doesn't text back. I'd rather be there than... I squint at the names of stations scrolling by on the digital board. Notcombe, wherever the hell that is. I set my phone down on the table and fish my keys out of my pocket. Despite being a daily passenger in my jeans for so many years, right now they keep stabbing into my leg. It's weird holding the keys to a place that isn't your home anymore. They don't just become another set of keys. It hasn't reset. It doesn't feel natural. All it is now is an absence, a reminder of our empty flat. When you first move in, that emptiness feels like potential. Now all that space feels hollow, like a dead tree, with something vital ripped out. I huff and set the keys down on the table, too, and turn back to the window. I realize how tired I am, let my eyes close for a moment. That's oddly anxiety-inducing to fall asleep on a train in general, let alone with your keys out on the table in front of you, even though they're not, I mean, they don't need the keys that badly, but they are responsible for turning them back in. My phone startles me. Please be him. I reach for it gingerly, dread and joy clashing in my head. Yo, Tums. Man, it has been forever. Really good to hear from you. My heart beats hard in my chest. He responded. I have a goofy smile on my face, staring at the phone clutched tightly and in my hands. Yeah, I'm still in Shimmerham. Of course you can crash in mine. Wait, let me ask my roommate. Shit. A coldness grows in my belly. I didn't realize I'd be imposing on a whole other person. He says cool. He's looking forward to meeting you. He knows a bit about you, which I'm just going to power through the typos, which are intentional, but I'm not going to try to pronounce them. Mentioned you a few times. He's real chill and cool. I think you'll like him. When are you arriving? I'm between the two Grodels, so I think 20 minutes. Oh, fuck, that's close. I gotta put something on and head over. See you soon. Boy, do I have a surprise for you. I'm guessing it's not that you finally decided to use autocorrect. Fuck you! Some very special amounts of bizarre texting. Honestly, might be worth turning off autocorrect myself, though, because it's just actually a nightmare to have it constantly change your words and then changing them back. Ugh. I step off the train. When I get to the ticket barriers, they're open, and there's no staff around, so I quickly slip through. Compared to Three Oaks, Shimmerham Station seems like a grand spectacle. It consists of one large open hall with shops lining the edges. The ceiling towers high above, ribs of discolored old iron stretch upward to support a lattice work of glass. Built 100 years ago, or something like that. In all the time I used to live here, I never bothered to learn the history. All the shops are different from what I remember, and all currently closed. But the bones of the place haven't changed. This place still has the quirks of a building fashioned in another era, when carving elaborate spirals and floral motifs into the stonework of a train station made sense. Seeing them makes me smile. It's quiet, and almost empty. There's two people sitting on the cold metal benches that occupy the center of the main hall, presumably waiting for a late train. Above them looms a spread of massive, glowing screens playing looping adverts. A new model of car, being less flammable than last year's model, seems to be the major perk. A new flavor of Slurp fizzy drink, then a government-sponsored advert. Beware the unpatriotic fraudster, enemy of the people. If you have reason to suspect wrongdoing, report immediately. If truly disabled, they should not fear, for they have nothing to hide. I don't love that. I don't love the interrogating of disabled people. It's accompanied by a black and white image of a person in a wheelchair. Some graphic designer has tried to make look threatening and malevolent. The image edited to have comical amounts of cartoon money overflowing from their pockets. I seethe. I don't see anything nearby to throw at the screen, besides the crust of a sandwich discarded on the floor. I managed to convince myself not to throw my phone at it, so I just huff and stomp angrily towards the nearest exit so I don't have to look at that shit. Yup. Government loves to always deflect its problems by just picking a portion of the population to blame, and when it's not racial and sexual minorities, it's disabled people and poor people. I know what's going on here. Toms! My steps slow and my ears swivel, trying to catch the sound of a name. No one has called me in years. Toms! I stop and turn, but I don't see Leigh anywhere. I do see a tiger, who seems to have come in through the main entrance, but it's some muscular guy in a black leather jacket and trousers. Gender. I try to look past him in case this guy's ripped frame is somehow obscuring Leigh behind it. His golden eyes meet mine and do not waver, and it sends a small shiver down my spine. And while my brain is still trying to make sense of why the stranger is so unwaveringly walking towards me, he has already crossed the distance and stands before me. Ta-da! Surprise! I feel my heart quicken at the intensity of his eyes. I'm like, this is definitely the person. Maybe it's because he's shirtless underneath that black leather jacket, and a full head taller than me. Hey, Tom Tom. His voice is gentle but has a growl to it. Not as bassy as I expected from a tiger, but still distinctly masculine. He says my stupid nickname with such ease and familiarity, it completely disarms me. His relaxed, confident expression holds me in place, and all the parts of me that would normally scramble away from talking to a stranger are calm. Hi? I try to push the nervousness from my voice with a breathy chuckle. I think... you might have the wrong... Nope. I think I found the guy. He breaks into a wide smile, broad and bright and irresistible. And as he sees the recognition kindle in my eyes, his smile grows further until all his brilliant, fearsome teeth show too. A giddiness threatens to overwhelm me. My heart surges and my skin feels electric, and all that feeling is channeled in my furiously wagging tail. Leigh? Yep. There's the surprise. My eyes scan up and down his body, incredulous. Seeing me inspect him, he adjusts his posture, hands on hips and chest out. He sticks his tongue out at me. What you think? I allow myself to unashamedly ogle my friend for a little longer until since he is so openly inviting me to. I start stroking my chin like a detective, piecing together clues that snap my fingers with revelation. You're not wearing your glasses anymore. You absolute wanker. He bursts into laughter, and I join him. Come here, you dick. He closes the distance and wraps me in a hug. This is the first time I've hugged Leigh in years, and his new body is so different it might as well be a stranger. Yet we slip in each other's arms like not a single day has passed since the last time we held each other. My face is pressed against his warm, muscular chest, and I can hear a rumbling purr within. He smells like jasmine and spice, and just a little musky. You did it. I'm so happy for you. You look incredible. I break from the hug and look at his face again, to see his smile. Thank you. They didn't make it easy for sure. They didn't make it easy though, that's for sure. I'm gonna be paying that off for a long fucking time. Fuckers. Oh, wait. Shit. Sorry, I called you by your old name. What do you go by now? He chuckles. The same, actually. Except it's spelled L-I now. Huh. Neat. Well, I'll bet that's convenient. Yeah, I didn't hate it, so... He shrugs. And L-I is also gender neutral, but... I don't know. Is it Leigh or Leigh? Shit, now I'm... Leigh. I think it's still just Leigh. It's always been that the original name's always thrown me off, but this one's like more specifically has to be Leigh, I think. I don't know, I guess I've always been trying to embrace a little bit of my heritage lately. Or something. That's what I tell people when I'm trying to sound like I have a clever reason for doing it. Mostly I just think it looks cool. I like the simplicity of it. Feels really nice to write it out, you know? With a pen. L-I. That's a valid reason. It is cool. We stand there and just smile at each other for a quiet moment under that faceted glass ceiling. Our small reflections are scattered across a dozen panes, a dozen different variations of us at slightly different angles, and every one we're standing here, close, in the warm, soft silence that comes after laughter and an embrace. You want to get going? No bags or anything? Oh, no. I sort of just randomly got on a train. I chuckle sheepishly. You haven't changed a bit. No worries, I've got spare stuff I can lend you. That'd be great, thanks. He tucks his hands into his pockets and tilts his head towards the entrance he came in through. This way, then. The art contributed for this jam is wild. Captain Nico's sprites just look great. We step into the night. The air is clear and chill. The sky dark and nearly cloudless. The drop in temperature is enough to send a little shiver through me. There's a lone taxi just outside, parked in a pickup spot, but the driver has fallen asleep. Leigh walks past and I follow. There aren't many cars out, so we cut straight across the web of roads that converge at the station. I'm trying to remember. I'm pretty sure during the flashback, Leigh was already being identified with he/him pronouns, so I think that he's a trans-masculine character who hadn't had the chance to, like, physically transition, at least back in the day, and they pursued a relationship during that period at some point. I mean, specifically, in the flashback, they're 15, so they would just be presenting and identifying, and that's it. There's so many questions I want to ask, all fighting to get out of my head. But in all the chaos, a smaller, simpler question slips between them all. How are you not cold? Oh, I'm freezing. I did tell you the surgery was expensive, yeah? I've had to sell all my shirts, every single one, and my underwear. I'm certain he's joking, and yet my eyes can't help but dart down and briefly wonder. And all my socks, bar one, I alternate which foot I wear it on each day. Today's lefty day. He sticks his tongue out at me. It might be the tea. I just don't feel the cold as much. My coat comes in thicker. I'm sure that helps. He combs a hand through the thick fur on his chest, fingers splayed, and lifts them away as if to demonstrate the length. I feel my arms start to move upward, reaching out to touch his fur, but I manage to catch myself and raise it to my head as though I was going for a scratch. Look, if I had muscles like that, I'd probably walk around shirtless too. He laughs. Do it anyway, if you want to. Don't let buff dudes hoggle the fun. I think you'd rock the shirtless look. Maybe when it's warmer, I'll do my part to bring down the muscle monopoly. I'm holding you to that. You're not bothered by people looking? He's silent for a moment, just a touch of furrow in his brow. I try not to be, but I still am. Just a little bit. He pinches his fingers together and raises it to his eye to look me through the gap of just how little it bothers him. It's something I'm trying to work on. People have been staring at me for as far back as I can remember, for one thing or another. Always things about me I couldn't control. I'd rather give people a proper reason to stare. Something I'm doing, not just something I am. Although, saying that, what I'm wearing is pretty tame for Shimmerham these days. Trust me. Is this the queer neighborhood? The queer borough? Shit, yeah, I guess I've been away long enough to forget just how open and progressive this place is. Feels like just about the only place left that is. Yeah. Did they ever get around to enacting those nudist laws or whatever? Oh, sorta, yeah. Just over in Mosstown, though, and only on weekends. From the main street down to the sea, and up to the marina. Leigh makes precise chopping motions in the air in front of him to demonstrate the bounds of a map only he can see. That's where we're headed, by the way. He winks. Oh, how nice, taking me straight to the heart of debauchery, I see. Have you been there long? Is it swarming with floppy old penises? God, yes. So many. I don't think I truly understood just how varied they could be. And wrinkly. Moved in with Manny, a couple of years ago now. But he's been living there ages before that. How'd you guys meet? Oh, we used to work at shops across the street from one another. Me in a sex shop, him in a comic book store. That's match made in heaven for two furries, honestly. We'd see each other opening and closing, or grab lunch at the same place. Sort of sharing a friendly nod, or even an bored eye roll about working retail. I think one day we both closed late and just got to chatting, and decided to grab some dinner. Didn't take long after that before we became good friends. Ah, a bond forged in retail hell. You said you guys used to work at those places, but not anymore? Nah, Manny's got a sweet job coding and making apps and stuff now. Works from home, too. I'm still at the sex shop, but my hours got cut, so I'm juggling a couple of part-time jobs. Damn, that's rough. Retail's a fucking nightmare. Yes, it bloody is. It pays the bills, but fuck, I can't wait to do something else. I'm so caught up in talking with Leigh that I haven't been paying much attention to my surroundings, but the sudden loud cries of a flock of gulls reminds me that there's a world outside the small patch of pavement between Leigh and I. Just as a side note, I really enjoyed the writing of this. I don't love being stuck in a character's head for too long without events and dialogue happening. So like there's a bit of the wallowing that's out of my element a little bit. But like the ways that certain things are described, and like there's been a lot of like quotable bits already in here that are like very good. And that was before we even met Leigh. And then once you meet Leigh, it's like, it's just, I love the characterization there of having him be somebody who's intentionally drawing attention to himself and doing something showy to sort of reclaim the sort of like social anxiety and attention that he's gotten his entire life for the wrong reasons, and like redirecting it and taking control of it in a very like an empowering, like specifically cool kind of way. And I also like how it's interesting to think about it because it's working backwards from the character design. Because when you make one of the game jam, when you make one of the games for one of these jams that uses the sprites that come with them, you're using the designs that were already made and then working backwards from there to come up with what the personalities and so on are. Like my game, since November, has its own character art, but I wrote it for the jams sprites, and so I was still doing the same thing too, where it's like, okay, well, these are what the characters look like that are coming with the thing, and I've got to kind of see if I can work backwards from there, because you try to work with those designs, then you have more freedom if you get your own art and can go the other way around. Because yeah, generally speaking, the way that most fiction and so on works is that you make the character's design fit what you wrote, and you write and whatever you need the character to be, and then you try to express them as best you can. So it's an interesting writing challenge to be given a design first and having to work backwards from there and making it fit your story. And some people will just grab the character and just do whatever and just write a story with X number of characters, then plop the sprites on them, and sometimes get into a mess when the sprites are really ill-fitting for the project potentially. But in this case, it was full on, like the entire outfit and design are all incorporated entirely into the character's personality, and they're motivated, and we're given an idea of why they're like that and why they'd be showing up to a train station shirtless and so on, which is fun. A rush of wind brings the smell of the sea. It's also like a bit of extra thing, because it tells us that he walks around like this more often than just right now. So it's more of an ingrained personality. Because without the explanation, my assumption would be that since he's gone through the body transition, like he's had a pretty significant shift in appearance, I would assume that it was a prank. Like it was just not like, I don't know if prank's the best word, but like I would assume that it was just for the surprise, like just to show up and surprise our protagonist with this huge change and fuck with them when they are, knowing that they won't recognize them, and have this moment of realization and everything because of how dramatic the difference was, and the being shirtless really like seals the deal there, because of like how, like, especially if they were in a relationship before, that's like an insane body change to just be surprised by years and years later, with no indication of the overall in between stages. Like that'd be a dramatic reveal. So it'd be reasonable to assume that it was just for the sake of that, and not like a more widespread choice that he makes more consistently. But you kind of have to make it a pretty consistent part of the character, because that's the art. That's the art that's on hand. I don't have them memorized, but I've seen all the modular sprites for this jam and so on, and like I'm pretty sure this character can never wear a shirt unless you drew it on. I look around and feel a flood of nostalgia. So many of the shops are different. Small local places taken over by shiny franchises with corporate logos in the windows. Yet the bones of these old buildings seem to endure through the waves of temporary tenants. You good? I realize I've stopped walking. There didn't used to be a View cinema, right? Yeah, it used to be the Ode. He has a conspiratorial grin on his face. I'm sure they must have lost the ban list by now. Can't imagine that sort of thing survived when it changed hands. I don't think they'd recognize me even if I did. If it did. We could watch something sometime. Even buy tickets like adults and everything. That might be nice, yeah. I sigh. I think I basically look exactly the same, though, just like scaled up with age. Nah, that's not true. Your snout's a little longer, your ears are bigger. You got longer arms and legs. That makes it sound like I've been rolled through a, the steel drums that squish stuff. Factory-sized pasta roller. I'm just long now. I wave my arms and legs dramatically, flopping in the wind like noodles. He laughs. Come on, don't be like that. You look good, okay? It might not be as dramatic as me, but you've changed too. And yeah, maybe that involves being a little long in places. I give him a playful shove on the arm, but he doesn't budge an inch. I actually send myself back a step, but he catches my arm before I can stumble any further. He laughs again. What the fuck are you made of, dude? You're solid as a bloody rock. I'm like 18% protein shake at this point. It's gross. And the other 20? Chips, I think. Speaking of, I was going to grab some on the way back. We're just coming up on it now. You hungry? I considered the deconstructed sandwich I ate earlier. For a moment, I'm certain I can taste tomato. I begin to politely decline when my belly grumbles loud enough for Leigh to hear it in the conspicuous silence of the mostly empty streets. Unbelievable. Haha, thought you might be. I can't help but smile. Shit, yeah. Okay. I'm running a little late today, so I think that's going to be it for the preview. But if you want to see where this whole situation goes, whether or not these two get back together, or if they just deal with their collective bullshit that they both have had to deal with in the last few years, and just bond over that, you can check out the full game via the link in the description, if you're an adult. There's also the rest of the jam, which you can browse to from that page, probably. There's 58 submissions, if I remember correctly. God damn, that's a lot of visual novels made in a month. Good job, everybody. I'll see you guys next time.